is working. How are you? Elizabeth.
And I also put a trout festival pin in on the guys' mailbox. I can actually buy those up in the bag.
Thank you.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hey, how are you?
Minutes. It's amazing how long 3 minutes is. Isn't it? No, I just think that somebody should, communications around here is gotten really bad.
Six o'clock.
All right, I'm gonna call this council meeting to order, 6 o'clock. And Angie, a roll call.
Certainly. Wales is absent. Bishop?
Here.
Dunham? Here. Larson?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Needham?
Here,
White?
Here.
And can we all stand for the pledge?
I go,
I didn't.
You stepped out and realized it had been moved back in. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, number 2, approval of regular agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Alright, motion and second to approve the regular agenda as presented. All in favor, say yes.
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 Any opposed? Carries.
3, consent agenda. Board members can request certain items to be removed from the consent agenda for discussion. A motion is then in order to adopt all items not removed. After that motion is passed, discussion will occur on those items previously selected for removal.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
Motion and second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Carries.
Number 4, brief public comment. Please state your name, place of residence, and disclose any financial relationship with the Village of Kalkaska. Please direct all comments to the village president and limit comments to 3 minutes or less.
David McKinnon. I'm out of halfway to Mansalona off Twin Lakes Road. That's very low. The issue I have is my daughter moved into Kalkaska in the village here, and the water conditions are a little iffy. So I did some water testing, and the first time I did it, I went through District 10 Health Department, and it failed. So what I did is Lansing sent me water test kit, which I back and fix it all up. But I forgot to put the time on it. So they're sending me another kit. So that's another $80. But my concern is with all the ARP money that's available to the village and the monies you guys got, and the Kalkaska County, 3.52 million, there could be a lot done to our water. And I think that would bring more people in that would live here if the water was better.
The village water you're talking about?
I'm talking about village water. So I'd be concerned over it. I'm trying to get out there and look at how the system works and maybe do some other testing. But I realize that DEQ does certain testings in certain spots, but they don't random do testing. And so I'm thinking that needs probably explored a little bit. Move them around. I know like the police department, they have good water, but they're at the beginning of it. You know, the VFW, they have so much sediment in their water that it's undrinkable. They got to filter it right. And usually is what everybody has to do. But if we fix our water up, then everybody doesn't have to use bottled water. Right? It's a solution. So I'm looking at the big picture, long term. We have lots of money available. Everybody does. We should target the water. That's my opinion. So if you could think about that, maybe.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Could you please leave the address with the clerk so that you could look into this, please?
Sure.
That'll be good.
All right.
Any other public comment?
Oh, there's one.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, my name is Cecil Dunn. First of all, I'd like to compliment you on that renovation that was done on Maple Street there. Looks good. I never thought it could ever look like that. The railroad square looks excellent and so forth. I just wonder, do those 2 trees in that road have to stay there? There's 2 trees that are planted in the road right away. And you know where I'm talking about?
Are they new trees?
On the right side going north, yeah. There's 2 of them. One is in the, kind of in the driveway or the entranceway to the parking lot for Safety First's building. And the other one is kind of in the front of Mike Babcock's building at Trent. They're a hindrance for snow plowing, and there's something that, I don't know whether the architect was from Georgia or Florida or whatever, but trees in Kalkaska, Michigan with 150 inches of snowfall are in the way. That's one item. And the next item is the parking across from the railroad square. I just wonder if that could be plowed in the wintertime. And the reason I'm asking that is because there's 4 buildings across the road. One is the dog groomer, beautician. The next building is the plumbing contractor's building. Next building is my son's building, Dunn's Construction. And the third building is Safety First. Now, in the wintertime, when that's not plowed out, and all the people that work at those buildings need parking spaces in front of their buildings, it takes up spaces for their customers, especially like the dog groomer and the beautician. There's 3 people that work there. There's 2 people that work at Cal Plumbing. There's 3 people that work at Dunn's Construction. And that kind of takes up all the parking spaces when they're parked there. So especially the dog groomer and the beautician are really limited to parking spaces for their customers there. So if you could put that on your
So you
agenda
want
to
them to talk
discuss
behind?
that.
In front, the parking spots to the east side of the building. Angie, are you available at 5 o'clock next Tuesday?
What's the date on that?
The 19th.
19th. I don't think so.
And may I go on?
Yes, please, you can.
Okay, the next item is, a long time ago, you had money to buy the old lumber yard and all of the property that went with it. And you proceeded to remove that, and it's beautiful right now. It's just fabulous. The only thing that's hurting your railroad square is that old feed store. Would it be possible that if you have extra money left over, that you could present him an offer and buy that building and get rid of it? Because someday in the future, fire's gonna break out in that building.
It is.
That,
And
sir, that building.
I have 2 grandsons that belong on the fire department there, and I told them if it ever happens, don't worry about putting up the feed store. Worry about keeping Midas watered down and the repair garage across the road. Because it's a hindrance, that feed store just takes away from your building tremendously. And if you have additional monies, go across the street and buy the old hotel up. Take that away. Because the north end of your town looks really pretty good, but the south end of town, you come down through town, you got a beautiful clock tower there, you got the railroad square, you got the renovation of Maple Street. I think it was spent about $3 million on all that project. And if you have a little bit more money, that'd be my idea to take care of those 2 items there.
Sir,
One last item, if I may.
the building sold. The feed store is sold,
Sold,
yes.
renovation coming?
I, no idea, but it's been sold.
My goodness gracious.
I would guess, I'm not on the zoning committee, but I'm guessing if somebody bought it,
Yeah.
it now has to come up with conditions. Because you
Wow.
can't sell a building.
Yeah.
that don't-
My understanding was if it's sold, it has to be torn down because it won't get an occupancy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so you can't meet the conditions, so, yeah, okay.
And another item, if I may, your roads in the village, at the corner of West Street and Dresden Street, is practically can't even drive across it. It's so terrible. And if you take Dresden Street west and approach yourself up to West Kalkaska Street, it's just as bad. When West Kalkaska Street got repaved here 3 or 4 years ago, that road became higher than the other roads here. And my suggestion, the patching that you do, it's just a Band-Aid. It ain't gonna hold up. It never has. And if you could get Elmer's over here and give you an opinion on it, what to do with it. If I was gonna do it and had the money, I would grind it up and repave it all the way from the school parking lot all the way down to West Kalkaska Road. Because there's some chuck holes in that road here, will take your tires off your car. And some of the other streets too need to be attention, so that's all I have at this time.
If I may, Madam Pro Tem,
Yes, okay.
these road projects are being discussed by the Department of Public Works right now. We're out through bid for concrete for several projects. That location has also been brought up for refurb. So as soon as we get the bids, we'll be making an announcement on what we're starting. Elizabeth, if you could make yourself available, or let us know what your availability is at the, get a public works meeting up and them ready within the next week to talk with Lloyd and see about these other two issues, and a couple other things that are on that list.
Okay, is that it? Any more
Thanks,
comments?
Mr. Dunn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to number 5, presentations, none. Number 6, bills and finance committee.
I will be making that report today as the finance chair is acting as president. We met this afternoon to go over payroll reconciliations, monthly payroll journal entries, and bank reconciliations. We move, excuse me, before I make the motion, we had an invoice amount of $271,189.10, with bills due in the amount of $94,019.23. We move that we pay the bills that are due in the amount of $94,019.23.
I'll support.
If there are no questions, I will take a roll call vote for the approval of the bills. Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Wales is absent, Miller.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Anything else?
That is all I have to report for finance.
Kevin has reports from other committees. Housing committee.
Well, we met the other day with Yarrow and had our meeting, which the report is pretty much the same. We're still working on that path to a housing master plan. As you can see in the back corner of the area, there's a large format multicolored map that shows the inventory of properties and the zoning regions that we believe are correct at this point until the new zoning ordinances are approved by the planning commission. That is so that we're able to mark out areas of attack and the inventory and such. It allows us to work with other committees at the same time in order to move forward on a plan. We are planning a public information giving and getting event probably in June. More news on that as it develops. We took our presentation over to the planning commission last Thursday and brought them up to speed on everything. One of the topics that we discussed during our meeting here, though, was we've been working on figuring out what the housing situation is going to be, what we need where. But now we're starting to swing it around and start focusing on the blight. Because there's several properties that we know that where owners were going to do something with them. They've now sat fallow 4 or 5 years since they've changed hands. Nothing's happened. There's some residences within the village that are deteriorating or not able to be occupied in any way, shape, or form. So the manager was instructed to make sure that our blight ordinance has teeth, so that when everything comes for the public hearing next month, we can start acting on getting rid of some of these empty residences, businesses that are falling apart and nothing is being done about it. And unless there are any questions at this time, that's all I have to report.
Okay, number 8, reports from village officers, police report. I have that sitting in front of me. Cole Nagy has resigned effective 4/10/22. We have been advertising for applications, but to date, none have been received. All officers completed street cop training hosted at Railroad Square last Friday. About 60 officers from around the state attended. And that's all I have here on this report. And you have the report, right? All right. Any other questions, I guess? Officer McCormick here.
Yes, ma'am.
I said, any other questions? We have Officer McCormick here. Now, the manager's report, I have this printed off from the manager. We opened bids on Friday for the North Walnut Street project, and I will be recommending a contractor soon. This project will likely be a late summer or fall project. DPW will be sweeping Cedar Street this week in preparation for Trout Fest in the summer season. We are getting quotes for filter media replacement at the CWP. The media is losing its effectiveness in filtering out the iron and is at the high end of its life expectancy. Cherry Street demolition should be starting in the next few weeks. And Habitat for Humanity is working on writing a purchase agreement for the Court Street property with the plan to build multifamily housing. That's all I have on that. See his president's report, and there's nothing. 9, unfinished business, none. 10, new business, discuss sale of canine Kalkaska. And I'm gonna give you some background. It is important for the council to know that it is a serious liability risk to transfer a canine, especially one trained in handler protection, to another officer. The canine is trained to react to the voice of the handler and retain this is highly risky. If the canine doesn't listen to the new handler, it could cause serious injury or death to another person. We do have a backup plan if Mr. Nagy decides not to purchase Kalkaska, but it does not include utilizing Kalkaska for police work. Any discussion?
So yeah, guys have heard me at lots of meetings. I studied this dog thing, it's got me fascinated. I've watched documentaries on it, I've read books on it, and they all say the same thing, and it's not good for the dog either. I mean, I'm sure Cole would like to keep the dog, but it's not good for the dog to pass it on to somebody else, and they're often act out and do cause injury to another handler or to a handler's family because they're not used to those kids and stuff around. And I'm all for if Cole is willing to do what we suggested here on his pay and stuff on it, that we let him have the dog. It's not gonna help us if we can't keep it. And why not get a little funding out of it at the same time? I worry about the dog and Cole.
Do you need to make a motion?
I have a motion.
Yes, motion.
Cole, thank you for your service. Thank you for being a part of this community and the excellent work that you and K9 Kalkaska have done for this community. Thank you. It's very sad to see you go. I'm gonna miss watching the dog run through my yard when you decide to let her out and go potty, right?
Can I ask a question? Will you be able to utilize her at the police department at some time?
She can, but that's not anything that we've
Okay, we just
looked
curious.
into yet, yeah.
I have a motion here for this, and I make a motion that the village of Kalkaska sell K9 Kalkaska to Cole Nagy. Mr. Nagy has resigned from the Kalkaska Department of Public Safety to take a job at the Gaylord Police Department. Mr. Nagy and the Finance Committee have agreed that Mr. Nagy will surrender 60 hours of his comp time equal to $2,035.20. Mr. Nagy will be allowed to retain the 2 leashes and tracking harness that came with Kalkaska. It is agreed upon between the council and Mr. Nagy that Kalkaska will not be used in police work as a result of this agreement. If the Gaylord Police Department chooses to use Kalkaska, Mr. Nagy will be responsible to arrange payment for an additional $3,000 to the village of Kalkaska. This motion would give President Wells, to sign this agreement on behalf of the village, and Clerk Coonan notarizes the signature.
No support.
Discussion?
Have we discussed, are we going to replace K9 Kalkaska?
I'm not sure.
That's necessary to do, right?
Yeah,
That's a long process. So.
you have to have an officer that's trained to be a canine handler.
Right, I mean, I know that we've gotten a lot of use, so, I
Mhm.
mean,
I think it's worth checking, because I'm the dog lover.
I would love to see it, another one. I would.
I'd love you more not to lose the ones we have.
Me too. Me too.
Yes.
Any other discussions?
I'd like to thank Cole Nagy and myself too for his service.
Cole knows I'm in this one. Anything else?
do we have any I mean, just for reference, I absolutely agree that the dog should stay with the trainer for safety and just relationship wise, but like how much cost goes into a canine dog? Did that come up? And like
Well,
how this number was
she would be
put
roughly
together.
halfway through her duty cycle. Which,
I can
Help.
help it.
Yeah,
But-
thank you.
Yep, so she was originally donated by All Green Transport, which you know, for $13,500. All my training downstate at the handler school, I got a grant for to pay for my lodging, food, gas, and my time. That was altogether, I got about $11,500 in grant money to help for equipment. All her vet bills have been donated, all her food has been donated. I family farm and home. And so we got pretty much my training hours. The handler, the master trainer we got her from said that she's worth about, with her life expense, where she's at now in life is about 35 to $5 grand, somewhere between there. Just because, just like anything else, as older as they get, the cost of them goes down, so.
Thanks, Cole. That came out smoother than it was going out of my mouth.
All right, we're ready, Angie.
Okay. Roll call vote. Dunham,
Yes.
Larson? Larson,
yes.
Needham,
Regretfully, yes.
White,
Yes.
Wales is absent. Bishop,
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, number 11, we have time for another brief public comment. Please state your name, place of residence, and disclose any financial relationship with the village of Kalkaska. Please direct all comments to the village president and limit comments to 3 minutes or less. Any more public comment?
I guess I'd be curious about the high iron filter. You're gonna change that out, is that what you mentioned?
Yeah, that was in the manager's report, so
Okay.
the manager would be the best one to speak to. I was just reporting for him because he had surgery today.
Oh, I did, okay. All right, I'll go talk to her. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Anything else? All right, we are adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
What does he want me to give the address?
Here's what.
You want me to give the address to someone? All right.
That's Angie.
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Thank you. Thank you.